In a forgotten village nestled deep within the woods, a young girl named Clara is shunned for being different, whispered about, feared, and cast aside by those around her. Her only refuge is her mother's love and the silence of the forest. But when Clara encounters a mysterious white pony and its enigmatic owner, she begins to hear warnings of an impending apocalypse. I still remember the day I brought Clara into this world. Her first cry was so soft, I thought she was whispering secrets from another realm. From the beginning, there was something different about her. Not wrong, just different. She had large, pale eyes that seemed to drink in the world too deeply, and she hardly ever cried. The midwife gave me a strange look when she held her for the first time, like Clara had stared through her. I told myself it was just nerves. We lived in a small village, nestled in a cradle of mountains and thick woods, the kind of place the world forgets. And the people here, they don't take kindly to different. They saw Clara's silence as a sign of strangeness, the way she talked to animals, or how she would stare up at the sky as if waiting for something to arrive. They called her cursed, witch child, star-brained, devil's whisperer. I heard it all, and while it broke my heart, I held her tighter each time. She was my light, my only child. When Clara turned 10, she began wandering into the woods alone. I let her against the other villagers' warnings. I knew they'd rather see her chained inside than let her find a sliver of joy. She always came back with twigs in her hair and mud on her dress, humming songs I didn't recognize. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, she ran inside with wide, shimmering eyes and whispered, "Mama, I saw a white pony, the most beautiful creature I've ever seen." Her hands trembled with excitement. It was so pale, like snow. It watched me. I almost touched it. I smiled, thankful she had found something magical in those woods. "That's lovely, darling. Just be careful, all right? I'm going to see it again," she said dreamily. "I know it." The next week, she didn't come home at her usual time. I nearly tore the village apart looking for her, screaming her name until my throat bled. She returned just after dusk, grinning like she'd touched the stars. "I saw him, Mama," she said. "The man who owns the pony. He's tall and beautiful, and his eyes, they're like the sky before a storm. He said I'm special. He told me stories about what's coming. He said the world is about to change." I felt my blood freeze. "What do you mean? What man? What stories?" She leaned closer, like sharing a secret. "He said there's going to be an ending, an apocalypse. He said I'm supposed to tell the village that their time is over, that they've been weighed and judged. Mama, I'm chosen." "No." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "You're not to speak of this to anyone, and you are not to go near that man again. Do you understand me?" Her smile faltered. "But Mama..." "Do you understand me, Clara?" She nodded, her eyes falling to the floor. I pulled her close, trembling. I didn't know what had gotten into her. Was it a game? A story she invented from too much time alone? Or something worse? But I should have known. I should have listened. The next morning the church bells rang before dawn. I knew. I ran barefoot to the village square, heart in my throat. Clara stood atop the well, hair wild, arms outstretched. "You have to listen," she cried. "The time is here. You've lived selfish lives. The man with the white pony said you've all been judged. You need to repent or leave this place." The villagers howled. Someone threw a stone. Another screamed, "Witch! Possessed!" I pushed through the crowd, pleading, shouting, reaching for her, but she was already running, tears in her eyes, toward the woods, toward him. I chased after her until the trees swallowed us both. She was kneeling in the clearing, and he was there, the man. He looked like no one I'd ever seen. Beautiful, yes, but wrong. Too tall. His skin pale like ivory, his black coat silent in the breeze. And beside him, the white pony. Only it wasn't a pony, it was a horse. Towering, skeletal, with skin stretched too thin and hooves like cracked marble. Its eyes were hollow, glowing with a cold blue fire. As I stood frozen, it turned its head toward me and smiled. Not with its mouth, but something deeper, like the bones themselves grinned. "You must be her mother," the man said, his voice echoing like it didn't belong entirely to this world. "She's kind, so are you. That's rare." "What are you?" I whispered. "I go by many names," he said, "but in this form I ride the pale horse." Death. It came like a thunderclap in my chest. Clara turned to me, her small hand reaching out. "Mama, he says we have to go. He says we can't stay here." "You're not taking her," I said, finding a strength I didn't know I had. "I'm not here to take," Death replied. "I'm here to warn. You and your daughter have kindness in your hearts. You don't belong among what's coming." I felt the earth tremble. The trees groaned. The sky bled red. And then they arrived. 3 riders. One on a blood-soaked horse, his armor scorched and stained with ash, war. Another draped in black robes carrying broken scales, famine. And the third, thin and hollow-eyed, a trail of festering smoke behind him, pestilence. They flanked Death without a word. Clara stepped closer to me, clinging to my arm. "Mama!" Death turned to us. "Take her. Leave now. Do not look back." I couldn't move. "I'm not asking," he said, eyes darkening. "Go." I grabbed Clara's hand and we ran, through the trees, through the cold mist that seemed to rise from the earth. I didn't dare look back, but I heard them. Screams, metal crashing, fire, thunder that sounded like splitting bone. We made it to the hills outside the village and hid beneath a ridge. I held Clara close as the sky turned black. Fires bloomed like terrible flowers in the valley. The village, the people who called my daughter cursed, the ones who spit at her in the street, were swallowed whole by something I cannot name. When the sun rose, the land was quiet. Smoke curled in gentle spirals. No birds sang. The village was gone, flattened, as if it never existed. Clara and I walked away with blistered feet and empty stomachs. We never returned. We never spoke of it again. But every now and then, Clara draws pictures of a white horse. And when I ask her if she still dreams of him, she only smiles. And somewhere, deep in the woods where the light doesn't reach, the pale horse still waits.